Welcome to Call the Wild Tutorials, and today we're out here on Reventuli Coast, and we're continuing our skill series, and today we're talking about the Startle Call Skill. I have a herd of white-tailed deer just over here, and we're going to be testing it on them. But first, let's understand what this skill is about. So when we can see that it unlocks the ability to stop animals in their tracks for a short time by making an unexpected noise. It's perfect for when you're ready to take your shot. After the shot duration, the animal will realize that something is wrong and flee. The more difficult the animal, the faster its realization. So normally I've just been using holding the R1 button and using the whistle to stop animals, but we're going to see if this is similar to that. And so we're going to put a point in, and then with all active skills, we need to make sure that we activate it. And we're going to see the little icon beside our binoculars. It's going to change to the startle call as we see here. So let's go over to this herd here. It's about 150 meters away. The first test we're going to do is to see if the startle call will stop an animal when it's in its fleeing state. So they're fleeing right now. We use the call. We can see it has a 30-second cooldown on it, but it didn't stop them. Now we're just going to keep an eye on that whitetail right there. He's max weight. We want to herd manage and keep him out of the herd. And we're just going to wait for the timer, and we're going to use the startle call again to maybe see if it stops them. So we're just going to wait here and use it again. No, it didn't do any effect in. We're just going to take them out, and as you can see, that's typical Call of the Wild. Sometimes deer's standing on his head. So we went and picked him up, and now we're going to go and try this herd over here, and we're going to see now if it has an effect on what effect it has when we use the startle call. So they're in a nervous state. I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but let's use this. He's moving just a little bit. And so he kind of looked really curious at us when we used that startle call. It did stop him. I don't know if that's already because he was in that alert phase. But we're going to see when we pick him up. Let's just look at that animation. I don't think I've seen that too much with whitetail. So it did stop him, and he did kind of look at us. But now let's see what range this is actually working in. So we are within 100 meters here. And let's see if this works, the distance that the startle call works at. So we can see that it hasn't had any effect on the whitetail here at 100 meters. Let's move a little bit closer. Now we're at 75 meters. And let's try this again. And once again, it has had no effect on him. So let's move within 50 meters and test it. So he perked up there after about 5 seconds after the call and took off. So it's safe to say that that worked within 50 meters. So those were with animals standing still. I thought we would come over here to a drinking zone. I don't want to do anything on an animal that's nervous. This guy's just traveling. We're going to use it here and see what happens. So we can see he perked right up. Didn't necessarily stop, but we know we had like a 5-second window in order to shoot him. And so my conclusion on this is that we have to be within 50 meters of the animal for this to work properly. And once again, whitetail aren't that difficult of a species, and it looked like we had a 5-second window in order to harvest the animal. So we're going to pick him up. He's a bronze. And let's go and try this now, but now just using my method of using the whistle by holding down the R1 button. So we're going to whistle, and we can see that the deer stopped, but it didn't have that little 5-second window. It just took off right away. We're going to take this guy out here while he's there for our troubles. But we can see that that was just, I don't want to say as effective, but almost as effective just using that R1 whistle. So we got a silver out of him. But let's test the distance of the whistle now. So we're going to go over here, and there's a moose over here. We're under 100 meters. So remember, the starter call didn't work at 100 meters, and it didn't work for our whistle. We tried the startle call again, and that didn't work as well. So we've got a male moving over here. Let's go see. We're within 50 meters, and he kind of picked up on us here. So let's just get crouched so that he goes from that alert phase back to where he was, which was nervous, I'm assuming, once he goes alert. So let's see if the whistle is effective here. So he stops, and there we go. We had time to take our shot, and we got a heart shot at that. So what can we conclude? Well, we can conclude that both seem to be effective. So could we save a point by not using the startle call? Perhaps. Maybe we get a little bit of extra time by using that. We could see, but with the whitetail, we got a 5-second, but it said with more difficult animals, it would be shorter. So I hope you found this video helpful. From Reventouli Coast, this is Call the Wild Tutorials saying happy hunting.